we had a couple of speakers come in, and they were doing I work in the media industry, and I also work at Starbucks.
Right.
And, I work for this big media company, and then I also work at this clothing store in York. And the one of them said, always have a side job. You're going to have a side job because no one's giving you the full-time hours anymore.
Right.
And that's the job market. You have to have 2 or 3 jobs sometimes.
And there are a lot of, most media companies are if they're hiring now, they're not giving you full-time contracts.
I want to talk about that with the time we have left, because we talked on this show about the both of your publications. They're separate entities, but they're both under the Torstar umbrella, Peterborough Examiner, Peterborough This Week. How is that working out? I, as a consumer, see that there seem to be less local stories. You have a couple of reporters at each paper, but and maybe there's just not that much news, but are things going to carry on with 2 papers, do you think? Will we see this local news that we have the privilege? I say the word privilege. I thought it would be a right to have local news, but give us your thoughts on, as employees.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not there anymore. I write 2 editorials a week, but I'm never in the building. I'm not part of management conversations or anything. Basically, I'm just a freelancer, basically. So I don't have any inside knowledge.
So you can say lots of stuff.
But my gut reaction would be, unless the economics of the news business change, you'll continue to see cost cutting because no business can run at a deficit perpetually. And
I think, just as someone who does work in the building every day, just to provide a counter perspective or parallel perspective, but since the Examiner got bought by Torstar, we've continued to operate in 2 separate newsrooms. We have 2 separate editors. A lot of people, for some reason, thought that we now had the same editor after Lois left, but no, we still have 2 separate editors. We still make different editorial decisions. You definitely do see some content across our 2 papers. Sometimes it doesn't make sense to send 2 reporters to the same thing. Sometimes it does,
but I don't think there are fewer stories, though.
Okay.
No, and I think...
I don't get that sense.
I think, too, in our paper, and I can't speak for yours because I don't work there, but what it has done for me personally, for my workload, is because we can cooperate on some things, I now have time to write larger, more in-depth stories. I think it was right after the acquisition happened that I had a big 3-part series about the downtown. I have another big 3-part series coming out soon that I don't want to spoil too much about, but those are things that I now have more time to work on because of that.
Well, it's good to hear that there are some positives out of it.
Oh yeah, I think there's definitely, it was a good, for the quality of news in Peterborough, it was a good thing to do, if only, I think, as Taylor says, there are daily things you can point to. But if in the end there becomes one newsroom and it can survive, then you've got a local newspaper.
Right.
And there was always a chance that one of those was not going to survive, or even both of them. Who knows down the road.
There are a lot of communities now that don't have any newspapers, and a community without a newspaper or a news organization in general is not a healthy, vibrant community.
Well, and we have some others that have, we've had Kawartha Now for a while, PTBO Canada, that are, trying to fill it, but they don't have the same kind of scale and scope, I think.
Well, the difference is when you have a fully stocked newsroom, we're all skilled reporters in our newsroom. We all went to school for journalism or photography or things like that. And I love smaller news organizations, but they definitely fill a different role because, with smaller news organizations, you're going to all these different things at once, whereas, with a newsroom of, right now I think we have 5 people in our newsroom, but you can have someone at council meeting every Monday night. You can have someone that goes to the police board meetings I think the police board meetings are Tuesdays. But you can allocate those resources in those ways. And also just, credibility. You say Peterborough This Week or you say Peterborough Examiner, and that has some weight to it. When you get on the phone and say, "Hi, I'm Taylor and I'm from Peterborough This Week," people want to answer your questions because they know who you are.
Yeah, and your papers, the local ones, are still virtually free. I mean, you get all the content online. I subscribe to 4 other papers. I don't yet pay for a local one. I probably would if if that option came up. But is that something that's going to carry on in Peterborough? I just got today's Peterborough This Week. I could barely lift it in the door. So you're doing well on the print advertising prior to Christmas.
Blame Black Friday on that one.
Oh, right.
That's-
right.
Oh, yes.
You know, that's if the Peterborough Examiner someday no longer exists, it will be largely because of what you just said. You don't have to pay for the content.
I think
that's
the
just reality.
misconception is that people don't pay for the news content if they don't give a toonie or they don't give their credit card information over for paying something. You pay for your news content, whether it's you go online and a little pop-up for your local
But you're
card
physically
dealership
not,
pops.
no, there's, like I say, I did sign up for the Star online finally, the Globe online, the New York Times
And the
online.
Star Online did recently
Yeah.
roll out that subscription program, and I think what we're seeing more of is news organizations that are saying, you've gotten your content for free online, but you've had to pay for it physically, and now I think the paywalls are starting to go up. And I think what people are realizing is that journalism is not free. People have to get
Yeah.
paid to commit
Yeah.
good, hardworking, dedicated journalism. And I think we're going to see more of that.
Yeah.